Hey guys. Welcome. Hey guys. Just a little improv. Always a good thing before we start. Though nobody likes it. Nobody likes me when I do that, but I like it, so we do it. D Hama, who the hell are you talking to? Should we call Bob in here? Is there another broadcaster I don't know about? Hello, Ben. Hello, Intermeyer. Okay, let me just shift my devices here to the proper channel so that I can see you all on YouTube and on Periscope, but not on Twitch. So if you're watching on Twitch, I'm not tracking the comments on Twitch at the moment. So welcome, folks. So hold on, just logging in here, and let's see. We got Ben and Twist Mint and Tiremeyer on YouTube, and we got who do we have here on a handful of you here on Periscope? D Hama and Levendi. Welcome, folks. So come on in. Hello, Dale. Hello, Dale in the Nati. So people are coming in and stepping out quickly on Periscope for whatever reason. So the topic tonight is actually, a complex one, and at one point here, I'm going to tie this all up together with what I've been talking about with all the other things that are going on with tracking what we do in the world not just on the internet. And the rest of the tracking is going to occur in other ways, which I kind of gave you a hint of with radio frequency. My screen doesn't show any. What only showed there's 5 people. It doesn't update on Dale. It's Rob Braxman right there. Rob Braxman Tech. Please subscribe on the YouTube channel, Dale. So okay, so AMG is okay. So please subscribe on the YouTube channel. So would prefer that you watch on YouTube actually, since Periscope seems to be shadow banning me or not putting me in a global list or whatever it is that's happening on Periscope, then I can ignore it. So just go on YouTube and we're not going to care about that. Okay, so and I am monetized now on YouTube, so I can actually take something called super chats. Super chats on YouTube is like kind of like the super hearts on Periscope. So that's also workable on YouTube, aside from the fact that I get ads displayed and so on. So thank you so much for supporting me on YouTube, and I really appreciate it, and so glad to have you all here tonight where we can talk about exciting topics about how we're spied on, and a little bit of advertising here. So some of you have gotten this. This is my new product. It's a VPN router. It's a VPN or Tor router. You can switch it on to either mode. So if you want to use it as a VPN, you can. If you want to not pay for a VPN subscription, you can use it as a Tor router, and it's the device is 149. 149. We missed you yesterday. Please scope again midweek. I'm actually scoping tomorrow, but it's just music. No one will watch that, Lavendi. So yes, I'm scoping more music. I need some time in a week to make videos. So I can't broadcast every day because I got to make the videos. So during the weekend, I'm not making videos. I'm just doing the live. On the week, I have to make the actual videos that I have to put on YouTube. So it's I'm doing research during the week. During the weekend, I'm doing research about the videos I'm going to put in, and then the videos have to be constructed, and it takes a whole day to make a video. Believe it or not, it's not an easy thing. So anyway, this is a one of the devices that can protect you. This one is a VPN router or a Tor router. Now, what's nice about this is that because it's in hardware, you don't have to install anything on any software to get the protection. So sometimes we forget. We use our phone and we forget we're not on the VPN. I make that mistake all the time. And what I do now is just log into the Wi-Fi that this provides. This the new version has 5 gigahertz or 2.4 gigahertz. You make the choice, and has a gigabit Ethernet on it, so it should be pretty functional on the internet for just about any use. And I use it all the time myself. Yes, I have some other routers, and I tend to use the other routers only when I'm doing Netflix. Otherwise, I tend to just go on these because I don't have to think about it. It's like without any planning, I'm always on the VPN. So, and a lot of mistakes occur when your VPN turns off on your device, or you switch device and you leave a fingerprint on some other IP address, and this one will prevent that. The other thing is the advantage of these, and I have several of these in my house. So in the public area of my house, in the living room, I have this for guests. If people come into my house and say, I need a internet connection, can I have your Wi-Fi password? I pass them on to my VPN router. Now what that does is puts all of their activities on the VPN as well, so that I don't have to worry about these guys, like my relatives coming, like yesterday, coming into my house, borrowing my Wi-Fi, uploading photos, and basically fingerprinting me on the internet based on their activities. So you don't want to be fingerprinted on the internet And so you have to do everything you can to evade that. And this is one of the ways you evade it. It's not a complete solution. This is just one of the ways to do it. Okay, so so this is a VPN. This is called Brax Wi-Fi. It's on my store, which should be on my profile, rob.brax.me. Okay, folks. So and a bunch of you have already bought it, and I appreciate it. And so get one. It's on my. It's described in my video on YouTube called Privacy Gadgets. Deliver outside the U.S. If you're outside the U.S., I would suggest buying your own, assembling your own Raspberry Pi, and just having me ship a chip. Or if you're handy, thank you, Great Gold. If you're handy, all you need to do is burn your own chip, so I can have you download the software and burn your own micro SD card. There's a micro SD card in there. So you can actually just build your own Raspberry Pi outside of the U.S., which many of you have done. Many of you have burned your own. If you're handy, just get the software to burn your own SD card. Or if you're not handy, then I put the chip. Yes, John. John is in Australia, and he burned his own chip. So yes, so I just take the chip and put it in the envelope and ship it to you, and you just plug the chip in, and you're all set to go. So Dihama, your problem is just getting a Raspberry Pi, and let me tell you, it's a piece of cake to assemble. I mean, it doesn't take any brains to assemble a Raspberry Pi. Doesn't take any brains to assemble. Was it hard to assemble a Raspberry Pi, John? Now, it's harder to make something that I have one. Of course, Tinker. Of course you are. I have one that's a little bit more complicated. There's a one that has a LCD screen version, which is $30 more, which is not on my store, but you can special order. It's $30 more, and that takes a lot of time to assemble. It's harder to assemble a weed vape pen. Not too hard. Yes, the LCD version is a much harder to assemble. You need some screwdriver skills and all that. So the instructions were more detailed, and required fine eyes to see how to assemble it. But yes, those are more fun, and because they have an LCD screen, they're $30 more. I just assembled one today, so got that all shipped. So had one that was had an LCD screen. So to the person that ordered the one with the LCD screen, it went out today. So you're gonna get it on Wednesday. So anyway, hello Tinkerballs. You don't want to watch on YouTube? You don't want to watch on YouTube? You all want to watch on Periscope? Thank you. Who's on here giving me hearts? It's it's Great Gold. Okay. Thank you I'm on Scope, baby. Yes, Scope is zucking me up, Tinkerballs. I want to be zucked. I stay on Periscope until I get my viewership down to nothing. Then when my viewership goes down to nothing on Periscope, then I will just turn it off. So yeah, did you see my numbers here in Periscope? I mean, it's like they shifted the algorithm to bias towards the call-ins. I use HDMI laptop to view settings in Pi. I don't follow anyone's number. Well, my point is that it's just zucked up. I mean, hardly anyone watches in Periscope anymore because the algorithm has changed to favor the call-in. So if I don't do the call-ins, which I don't, what do you see in the router in the LCD screen? It shows you the Linux activity on it. So it shows you when you boot it, it shows you what the IP address is and the status. And if you want to control it, all you have to do is attach a keyboard, and you can control the menu right there and choose to shift modes. So if you want to keep shifting modes from VPN to Tor router. You just put a little keyboard in there, and then you can shift modes, and that's all you need. Just plug in the keyboard, like a USB keyboard. You don't need anything else. And it's menu driven. Zuck call in scope. Matthew Vick loves to be fingerprinted. How are you doing, buddy? How are you doing? Did you have a good Easter? Did you have a good Easter, Matthew? So that LCD screen is just for those who want to be handy, but you actually don't need it because you can call up the as John 4 just said. Hello, Sarah. As John 4 already said, you can actually access the Raspberry Pi directly from your command line. So if you're on a Mac, you can actually access it. If you are on totally ask me that again in case I forget. If had some Easter candy. If you're on iOS, you can actually download a SSH app and you can control the VPN from there. Hello, Sarah. Just joined. Does it have to be the 3B Plus or will the 3B work? I have a different version for the 3B Plus. Those are two different software. It's not compatible. So if you have the 3B Plus, it needs a different software, and then the software will not be transferable to 3B Plus. If you don't have one yet, hello, Paul Mitty. If you see you on YouTube, great. So if you have a option to buy a 3B or 3B Plus, pay the extra $5 and get yourself a 3B Plus because it's 3G. Bought the older one, ordered a new one. Yeah, I would suggest using the newer one. It's twice as fast because it has 5 gigahertz on it. So I would suggest don't get the old one if you can help it. It's completely different software. If you have an old one, you may want to use that for something else. If any one of you, by the way, Matthew Vick is now on YouTube. If any one of you have the old Tor routers, you can leave that as a Tor router and get the new one as a VPN router, and then you can leave the other one in the living room for your guests to access, and then use the VPN router for yourself on 5 gigahertz. So I never consider any one of these away. That's exactly what I do actually. I have the old version, the 3B Plus, the 3Bs in for my guests, and I use the B Plus for myself. So never these can be used for so many things, and I can tell you things you can do with this that are kind of fun. Do you know that you can listen to like air traffic control with this? You can listen to air traffic control, find out with airplane transponders, and get position of airplanes near you using ADBS. You can scan radio frequencies with this. It's like lots of handy things you can do with this, even the old one. So, never consider it a waste if you're handy. Anyway, can I get a white one? The one I sell is clear. A clear case. This case is no longer available. So the case that I use is a white plastic one, clear. So you can see all the boards on it. Kind of cool looking. So that's on rob.brax.me, or you can just go to brax.me and find me, and you can get to the store. It's on my profile on brax.me. Jay, why don't you, you're a rich man, why don't you invest in one of these Tor routers, Tor VPN routers, Brax Wi-Fi. You can find it on my store on Brax. You have a Brax account, so go in there and go get one. Okay? Or you can get me a shirt from Brooks Brothers. That'll be fine too. Invested in a Sonos speaker today? Yes. Want to be more zucked again? Get your Sonos. Another way to get zucked. Then run the app on whatever. No, get me a nice Brooks Brothers t-shirt, shirt. Soundbar. What is the problem with the soundbar? Oh, the soundbar, the Sonos soundbar. Yeah. So anyway, so welcome, and if you have any questions on on the VPN router, you come talk to me. There's a video on it on YouTube. It's called Privacy Gadgets. So go watch the video on YouTube, Privacy Gadgets, and you will see that device. So and I can listen to the police. I can listen to police scanners. To listen to police scanners, I believe you need two of them. You need to assemble two to listen to police scanner. It doesn't work on one. So that's why I haven't done it, because you have to listen to the signal from the police scanners, and then the output you have to decode it on another device. Can you put an overseas instruction on your video? There's no overseas instruction on the video, Tihama. Do you want me to make a video on how to assemble one of these? I mean, guarantee whatever country you're in, you're going to have these available. Okay, go to the store and go say, can you just give me an assembled one? You know, you can, with the power supply, it's like $70. The board itself, the board for it is $35, but to assemble it and doing all that. I mean, you know, if I ship one, it's going to cost a lot in shipping costs. It's going to add like $20, $25 in shipping. I can listen to police scanner, the web, but it's not as handy. Yeah, the problem with the web version is whatever frequencies they give you is all you can listen to. This one you can listen to air traffic control, whatever. I mean, anything you want, really. It's just a little bit of, you know, tinkering around to figure out what you can do with it. Please support Rob by getting stuff. Sonos and Boss have Alexa. By the way, you can load Alexa on your computer now. And because it's push button, you can't just give a command on your computer without pushing a button. It's just a little bit more limited what they can capture from you. So when you press the button, that's what they capture and save forever and ever. At least you know what it is. So if you want that, that's a safer way. Don't buy those little Alexa Echo, you know, dots and such. Why would I do Alexa Zuck? If you want it, you say, I'm too lazy. I want to control you have a computer anyway, and you're on a computer, and you say, I want to control whatever in the house, and I'm going to type it on the computer instead of walking to whatever. And it's like, you know, why don't you just remote control it from the computer? But if you really want that, you can do Alexa on the computer now. So, no, I don't have it. I can even make my own Alexa on a Raspberry Pi. I don't have it. I like to do more gadgets, guys. So I like to do more gadgets on my YouTube videos, because I want to show you things you can do to kind of spy on the world around you. So I bought myself some pretty advanced hardware over the weekend to scan the internet, create a stingray, create my own stingray, things like that. It's gonna be fun. So I can hack Bluetooth and open your garage door, and I just figured out how to open a garage door or open your car directly. I just figured out how to do that. C.A. Bear. How are you doing, C.A. Bear? What the zuck, C.A. Bear? I saw a speaker in a shower head. I thought you liked that, Matthew Vick. You like to be scanned everywhere on the internet. You said you don't mind being tracked, so there you go. Why is that a problem? You should love that. So anyway, I want to continue on the should you be working for Apple? Why should I work for Apple? I want to continue on with the details of the video I posted on YouTube, which is called Browser Threat Test. I don't know how many of you actually tried that. How many tried the browser threat test that I posted on YouTube? Can you type a 1 if you actually tested it? Can you type a 1 if you actually tried the browser threat test? Want to see? Okay, so we got on Periscope. We got 1. Who else? We got Storm Media. Yeah. So we got John. You did not test it, or you tested it twice? You have not yet. Okay. So we got a lot of you didn't test it, which is really it really speaks to my poor title. It speaks to my poor title. It's the link is brax.me/geo. Brax.me/geo. So it's very interesting to see that. So it's on my video. It's called browser threat test, and very few people actually ran the test because of the title. I think that the title was so boring. They looked at it and said, what's this? Doesn't look that interesting to me. So a lot of you did not run. I know you didn't run it because that video is not like heavily watched. And I know why it's not watched, because there's nothing in there's nothing in the title that will make you think it's exciting. And the problem is, on YouTube, I'm forced to use certain titles just so it shows up in search. And even, I can't like clickbait it. Hello, Twin Mom. I can't clickbait the title. So I advise you to try that out and do the test. And right now, I'm going to explain to you what that test is all about, because some of you may not understand what is going on there. Okay, if you go to that video, it shows you show how to fight back. Well, I was just explaining one of the ways to fight back is having one of these devices. But yes, today will be to show you how to fight back. But I want to explain first what the threat is, because you're not going to know how to fight back if you don't know what the threat is. Okay, so the tracking on the internet, or the fingerprinting of your activities on the internet, has gone to a new high in the last 2 years. It is so complex now that simple techniques that you could use 2 years ago, you can't do now. The tracking is so extreme and accurate that in some ways it's even impossible to actually evade. I think it's an impossibility now. And what you can do is to prevent them from getting complete information. The only thing we can do now is to deny them absolute control of all the information by making the information partial. There's no actual way to stop some of it. Like fingerprinting is not something that's easily stopped. Browser fingerprinting. I think I've been deleting comments in live chat when green, even when mods helping. I am deleting chat. I'm deleting the AI automatically deletes comments that it sees as spam, and I have to manually approve some of it. So if you see me tapping on this, because I'm approving comments, some comments are being deleted automatically. No, it's part of the algorithm for YouTube. So YouTube screens a comment and gives me a show proofs note. Oh, I will. ArtX00. Yeah, I've been showing proof that Snowden was right. Select a name. What? If you watch all my videos, ArtX. What's your name again? Hey, ArtX00, you really need to follow me on YouTube here. The information you're seeking is on YouTube. It's on my account, Rob Braxman Tech. I got all the videos in there proving all the things that it's already happening with the world as some of it's being described with by Snowden. In fact, this video I'm talking about is about that. So Snowden had a video. It's not his video, but it was made by Vice on HBO, and it's linked to my YouTube community page. If you go to the community page, there's a link to the video from Vice, which is mostly about Snowden. Hello, Mario, my friend. I'm your number one troll. So on the YouTube video from Vice, which shows Snowden, he was talking about exactly what we're discussing here, is how your cell phone is like, tracking your location on a constant basis, and how you can't evade it. And he's basically in the video showing how he's even manually snipping off the electronics on the phone for microphone and camera. Now, why would you snip off the microphone in a cell phone? Then you can't use it for calls anymore. Even with VPN on, does Fingerprint know I'm using OS X? John, why don't you try it? You will find out the answer is absolutely yes. You don't love us anymore unless we're on YouTube. Sad. Not true, Tinker. I mean, I'm here on Periscope all the time. It's Periscope that doesn't like me. So, if Periscope doesn't like me, what am I supposed to do? I tried it and knows. Of course it knows. Okay, so again, a lot of you can hello, Mark. A lot of you don't believe me, so I would like you to just go to brax.me/geo. Try it now. brax.me/geo on whatever device you want to use. Go to any browser you want. Some of you think, I'm using a DuckDuckGo browser. This is good. And you can run brax.me/geo and then see what you want to see. And then that is something that will put a little bit of fear in you, because if you understand what the test is, then you will see what's actually happening. So in order for you to recognize this test, there's a test for location. It shows 2 locations it's trying to spot for you. It can actually even catch secret things on your device, and it will show you that if you run DuckDuckGo, that DuckDuckGo will be fingerprinted just as easily as Brave and just as easily as Chrome. There's actually no difference. It will. Mine says Wi-Fi triangulation. Yes, so it will triangulate you if your location is on. It will spot your location exactly, and this did not used to be the case. Let me just make this clear. If you did this test 2 years ago, some of you will get precise tracking, such as those using Chrome, and everyone else gets kind of a partial location, which is not exact. Today, in that test that I did today or last week, I'm telling you right now that there is the only browser that partially protects you, and it's only partial, is Tor. And it's only partial protection. It's still spotting you in a big way. And I don't understand why people look at this video and say, this is not important to know. This is not that big of a deal. And it's such a big deal, really, if you understand what it's doing. This is exactly how Facebook tracks you. I'm telling you right now, this is how Facebook tracks you on the zucking internet. Leroy, this is the way it tracks you on the zucking internet, guys. Everything you do on any website is being captured with this. Let me explain again what that video is all about. The video is about something that's been invented in the last couple of years, and it's called browser fingerprinting. Browser fingerprinting. it's quite accurate. It's pretty. It's almost. You can evade it in a partial way, but we need to understand how should I show how worried I should be. Oh, you shouldn't be worried at all, Art. How worried should be? Yes, you should. It knows too much. Yes, if you're not running the test, then you're not worried. Okay. If you're not worried about the test, then you're not worried. If you want to get worried, then run the test. Run the test over and over. I ran the test, but what do I do about it? So E.T. Buck, look at the fingerprint. Open the tab, go back to it, look at the fingerprint, exit out, come back in, look at the fingerprint, do whatever you want to do. Change, what you do. Change your IP address, move to a different part of town. Do whatever you want to do. Check your fingerprint. Turn off your phone, reboot it, check the fingerprint. Whatever you want to zucking do, the fingerprint is zucking the same. Repeat, the fingerprint is always the same. Open up a new tab, go to incognito mode. What else do you want to do? What other test do you want? People are so shocked on Periscope. Everyone, you cannot change your fingerprint directly. Unless you get a new, you'd have to have, there's a way, and it's, so I copied the fingerprint. That's not the point, E.T. Buck. All you have to do is just look at it. It just proves a point. Okay? That fingerprint is not the same fingerprint used by Facebook. They will use a different fingerprint. Okay? That's a fingerprint I came up with just to show you. What you're looking for is, does the fingerprint stay the same or the fingerprint change? Okay, now what happens if you have the same fingerprint? So let's change who I am. I'm an ad tracking program from Facebook. You're burning my PC as we speak? Okay, you're on Facebook. Let's do this as Facebook. Let's do this as Facebook. I'll try to explain everything, John, slowly, because it's really shocking to me that nobody actually paid attention to that video. I was like, do you actually even understand what you're looking at? That is correct, E.T. Buck. That is absolutely correct. Now I'll tell you how that is a problem. Yes, E.T. Buck, that is correct. You are absolutely correct. So you go on Facebook. Facebook now will fingerprint you as the moment you enter Facebook. That fingerprint that I just showed you, they will have one just like that. It will say, okay, my fingerprint is whatever number of digits, and then it'll be a hash of some sort, and the end of it will be let's say it ends with ABC. Okay, so the fingerprint ends with ABC at the end. Just so you remember what it looks like. Just remember the last 3 digits. You can't remember a whole number of digits, but if you just pay attention to the last 3 digits, you'll kind of remember if you've seen it before. Okay, so Facebook. You go into Facebook, and Facebook will now record. And Facebook is the number one problem here, by the way. They're the number one recorder of fingerprints. Okay, and the second recorder of fingerprints are Google ad trackers. So the first recorder of fingerprints is Facebook. So what Facebook will do now is save that fingerprint and say, I associate this fingerprint with Matthew Vick. Matthew Vick. It is not a physical fingerprint, Matthew Vick. It is not a physical fingerprint. It's a device fingerprint. So they now, hello, hi, kill. Okay, so you go on Facebook. Facebook will now identify you with some fingerprint ending in ABC, let's say. And since I know who you are, we logged in here to Facebook with the name Matthew Vick. So therefore, this is Matthew Vick's device fingerprint. It's not really a device fingerprint, so it's a browser fingerprint. My fingerprint coming up as the same. DHAMA, that's exactly the problem. Okay. Now, why is it a problem that the fingerprint is so known? Because it means it's really put a serial number on your device. It computed a serial number for you. It now has an identifier. It knows you on the internet as that. No, Freddie Ray's no. Okay, it will. You can come up with many ways, and it will still spot you. This is the problem here. You can play many tricks to it, and it will probably come up with several levels of identifiers, not just one fingerprint, but maybe 4 or 5 of them, depending on what you do. Okay, some of the identifiers may be short term, some may be long term. So if it can't find a long term identifier, it's going to match you with something else, and it's going to find a match with some of those. So it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to be spotted. All I'm trying to tell you is you are going to be spotted. Okay, now, if Facebook has a database of your fingerprint with your name on it, what the zuck do you think happened? Hello, no more hate. Okay, what do you think happens when Facebook has your fingerprint with your name on it? Fast forward now you go into some other website. So you go on Instagram, which is owned by Zuck. Hello, no more hate. So you go to Instagram and you think, well, I set up a brand new account on Instagram and I did not tie it to my name on Facebook. Not only that, I set it up with a VPN and I didn't connect the two accounts. Zucked! Your fingerprint is exactly the same. So Instagram will fingerprint you and they will do Zuck you match. You are now Zuck. We know exactly who you are on Instagram. We know exactly who you are on Facebook. And then you go to WhatsApp. WhatsApp is owned by Facebook. So obviously they can fingerprint you on WhatsApp because it's the same company. So they do a fingerprint on WhatsApp and they said, I don't care what sucking phone number you use because WhatsApp is by phone number. Remember this. WhatsApp is identifying you by phone number. So now, what does ZocBook know? ZocBook now knows what your phone number is, what your real name is on Facebook, what your alternate names are, your aliases on the internet, and say, okay, we've now connected you on WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram. We know all of your activities in all three. Okay? Okay? E.T. Buck. Yeah, E.T. Buck is getting frustrated here. Yeah, why do we need 2FA? They already know who you are. It's like a game. They already know. The reason that Facebook wants you to do 2FA is so they can get your zucking phone number. It was a zucking excuse. Facebook said, here's an opportunity. Let's collect your phone numbers by saying you need two-factor authentication. So by giving us your phone number, you'll be safer. You won't get hacked. So what we're going to need to do is you have to put in your phone number on Facebook so we can do that. And of course, your phone number, they don't even need it if you have WhatsApp because they already have it. And then they said, okay, now we know your phone number. We know your name. We know your real name because it's Facebook. We know your Instagram account. And now we know your WhatsApp account. Now, next, now you go to Amazon. Now you go to Amazon, and then you go to some page that has a Facebook like button. You go to some page with a Facebook like button. Well, what do you think the Facebook like button is doing? Fingerprinting you again. Okay, how many sites have a Facebook like button? Could someone tell me how many sites have a Facebook like button? If you're on WordPress, you probably all have a Facebook like button. I'm going to say 70% of the websites have a Facebook like button. Okay, now what happens when you go to a site with a Facebook like button somewhere in the bottom? Somewhere in the top, somewhere in the corner. Okay? Well, if you're a business, you're not gonna have a Facebook like button. So what's more? So what happens when you go to X product, X app with a Facebook like button? Braxme does not have a Facebook like button. Okay, what do you think happens when what first of all, what is a Facebook like button? Do you actually know what a Facebook like button is? You know, I have fun with these scopes. I don't have the visibility that I should have for what I talk about because, you know, it's kind of crazy that most people don't know what I talk about. But what do you think a Facebook like button is? Okay, if you anything to know, if you know anything about programming a website, a Facebook like button is actually a website within the website. It's called an iframe. Iframe, meaning embedded website. So if you have a big website like this, you have little squares. Sometimes it's invisible. Doesn't have to be visible, and it's using a code called iframe. And what iframe is, you give it its own domain, and you point it to the domain of whatever you want to embed in your websites. Now, who embeds websites? Why would you embed some other's website in your website? Because you can benefit from that website in some way. For example, we put in a iframe or a Facebook like button, which is actually a Facebook website. Solange, my friend, how are you? So a little tiny Facebook button is actually a full Facebook website. A Google Ads invisible frame is actually a full Google website. An ad tracker program of, you know, an ad this big showing you an ad, that is another website. Those are not your website. They're the website. That's not your website, right, Solange? It's not your website, the one you created. It's a website of whatever you've integrated into yours. And people are saying, well, I'm an expert HTML guy. I know how to do that and integrate social media. You were watching me on YouTube, Solange. Okay, I didn't even know. What account were you using on YouTube? So when you are going to a website, many practically 90+% of the website have some sort of embedded iframe. Practically all websites will embed Google Analytics as an example, which is one of those hidden iframes, and Facebook is the other one. So between Facebook and Google, what can these little trackers do? Well, what happens is you go to the unknown website, let's say Amazon, and they can now run the same fingerprint program they just ran on Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp that I told you about earlier. They can run that same zucking code on the Facebook like button. Okay, so now what does that mean? It means they just identified that you visited the Amazon website. And they know exactly who you are. They said, oh, Matthew Vick just visited the website for Amazon. I wonder what he's trying to buy. Maybe I will put an ad out on Facebook. What's the audio field on your fingerprint? I don't think my fingerprint uses audio. See, now I forget. I forget what it includes. I have to look at the code because I don't recall what it used for fingerprinting audio. Oh, okay. I don't recall right now. It may be could it be volume, or is it the driver, sound driver? I don't recall right now. I got to look in the code. Whatever it is, it's not something you can change. So you're kind of stuck with it, whatever your device is. Okay, it's a web page. It's a web page in a website. Yes. Hello, Claire Peters. So, because that's the only value that seems unique. That's the only value that seems... No, Solange, no. One of the biggest way to make it unique in the fingerprint is to send you an image. This is one of the tricks in there that you're not seeing. It creates a canvas. This is called canvas fingerprinting. It creates a canvas. The canvas is basically a space in memory that it can use to display an image. So it takes an image, and let's say the image is JPEG. JPEG is a lossy compression, so the image doesn't show exactly depending on the device. Okay? ET-Bug, that's for later. Save that for later. So what's I talking about again here? What was I talking about before I stopped with ET-Bug? It wasn't about the audio. I was gonna bring up something else. Oh, canvas. Canvas. Thank you. Okay. So if you display an image on your device, depending on how it's aligned with the size of your screen, the size of the window, the graphics capability of your device. If I pop an image into the canvas and then I do a hash of it, I can now see if the image is displayed the same or differently on your computer. Well, as it turns out, on most devices, the image is displayed a little bit differently. And this has to do with many factors, including screen resolution type of device, what graphics chip is on it, and then some other things that you can only control with screen resolution, what font you chose, and so on and so forth. So that is so unique that is one of the other values that are added in addition to your user agent audio. But there are a finite at Solange. That's a problem. Is that it turns out that no, they make so many versions of devices. For example, I'm broadcasting on an HP here. So I'm broadcasting here using an HP computer right here. They have like 50 million models of this a year. Exaggerating, but there are easily hundreds of models a year. Slightly different screens, slightly different memory, slightly different hard disk space, slightly different resolution, slightly different device model because they bought it from different supplier. So throughout the year, you would be surprised how different some of these, just from a different supplier, things change in devices. They make them in small batches. It's not as big of a batch as you think. As it turns out, they did a test, and this is how 2 years ago, somebody said, can we actually find out people's exact hardware configuration in a way that makes them unique? Plus, the Solange, the unique things like time zone. So since not everybody's in the same time zone, I've already, sliced you up and diced you up with just the time zone alone. So then I'm looking for a specific computer within a time zone with certain display criteria. Then I start to say, well, what's unique about you? What kind of plugins have you put in? Yes, Solange. Unfortunately, they found that out. So, and there's more that they're coming up with. I know more fingerprints than I put in the test in there, and some of them are kind of crazy. One fingerprint, as an example, is there is now a way to note what websites you visited that has HTTPS. It's called HSTS. Now, what is HSTS? HSTS is a little flag that says you are going to force the website to show you the content only in HTTPS. Okay? But the flag is stored on the browser. The flag is stored on the browser. It's not even stored in cookies. It's stored in a separate area that you can't even erase. Okay? It's stored on the browser. So if you go to a website, it says, this site says HSTS, enforce HTTPS rule, but store the flag into the browser. So if you have a list of common websites, let's say you have a 1,000 website list of common websites, and you just check the flag in the browser, you will be unique because you are not going to visit the same 1,000 websites as someone else. And who helped us make the fingerprint? The Zucking browser. Delete the app, then reinstall the app. No. So I'm telling you that the fingerprint is so scary accurate that even if there's collision, it may be down to, if you evade them in some ways, and there's some ways to trick some of this. If you evade them in some way, you can actually maybe raise your number to maybe be 1 out of 5. Okay? No, Solange, no. It's stored in a separate area that you don't have access to with user controls you have to I think if you delete the browser you can do it, but then you'd have to do it every day. So yeah, because you're going to visit those same websites again, and then the pattern will ensue. Okay, so, and this is just one of them. There's so many. So, and each one of us controls screen resolution. We want fonts. We change the font. We say, I want my screen to be a little bit bigger because I can't see so well, and so on. All of these characteristics are enough to define a unique device, and they can find you among millions. That is really how precise it is. That you can actually be found among millions. In pretty much all these cases, if you split it off by time zone, it's pretty exact. Now, the Facebook way is even more exact because they already have your name. So on Facebook, you went into Facebook, they already know that you're Matthew Vick on Facebook. Yes, Freddie Race, that is correct. But unfortunately, Tor does not completely protect you against a fingerprint. I tried to do a Tor test. You may have to shut down Tor and restart Tor. Wait, who has access to all my visited websites apart from the browser? Solange, any website, including Facebook, can test for that and see what HSTS flags are. Thank you, AMG. Thank you. Thank you for the super chats on boy, that's. Do you notice how doing a super chat really grabs my attention? Because it's so bright. It's so bright. It's like you see that and you stop. It's like, whoa, what's that? And it's like, super chat. Thank you. Apple thanks you too. Apple takes a cut. So Apple loves it. They say, wow, we love that. So thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So anyway, the fingerprint is it's how it's used. So now you can all be fingerprinted by any website. So I can fingerprint you on my own app, okay? But my fingerprinting you doesn't really have much consequence other than to identify you as a troll or not. That's really the only thing I can do with a single app as a fingerprint. So I don't think you need to worry about a single app fingerprinting you all too much unless you're a troll. If you're a troll, then obviously your fingerprinting if you're fingerprinted, they know all the accounts you have. Because it doesn't matter how many accounts you set up, your fingerprint is unique. Right? Even if they're in the same household with the same IP address, your fingerprint is unique. I tested DuckDuckGo myself and of course, DuckDuckGo is a very good fingerprint. What if you're using a VPN? A VPN is important, but not directly to the fingerprint. I'm going to get to that, Jake, because you still need a VPN. Okay? In fact, it makes it more important. However, it doesn't stop the fingerprinting. Just to make it clear, a VPN or Tor does not stop fingerprinting. So this is why you start to have a global view of the problem so you see how to handle this. Facebook is the bad one here. If you're on Facebook, how many of you are still on Facebook? Raise your hands. Type 1 if you're still on Facebook. because you're the ones that really need to be concerned about fingerprinting the most. The most targeted group here is anyone on Facebook, because you are okay. Anyone on Facebook, please type 1. You need to. I need to target the people who are on Facebook, so you understand the effect of fingerprinting on you first, because you're the worst case. Okay. Somebody will actually say, everyone, you're just embarrassed to say you're still on Facebook. Where's Starlight? Starlight is still on Zuckbook. Okay, Eagle Source still on Facebook. Okay, so nobody on YouTube claims to be on Facebook. Not anymore. Left Facebook months ago. Okay, the fortunate part about fingerprinting is once you stop going to Facebook and you change update devices, then you actually end up with a different fingerprint. No Zuck for me. Okay, ET Bug is on Facebook. Okay, so it's not a permanent mark. You can pretty much evade Facebook simply by leaving it, because the fingerprint will eventually expire when you change device. So anytime you change device, you ought to think to yourself, I changed device. This is an opportunity to get out of Facebook now and never come back ever again. Okay? Because this is so deadly. So a Facebook fingerprint not only has a fingerprint of you, but matched it to your name. And now they can now find you all over the fucking internet with the same fingerprint and know everything that you're doing. And then they store that into the database, and they store with your phone number. And then they, and this is what Zuckbook does, they then collect your credit data. They buy it from, because they have your real name and they even have your phone number. They can connect it to your data on, let's say, Equifax. And that's how they actually track what you're buying. They say, oh, look, he spent $5 buying a coffee at Starbucks. Facebook is better tracking than the FBI. Yes. That's exactly true. So when you do this, then you start to understand the consequences of this, because now they have a global view of all of your activity, not counting the locations, which are tracked separately as well. So the other thing that is tracked, now please look at my Brax.me geo test, the one I'm just talking about with fingerprinting, because part of what it also tracks is your location. So it doesn't just track your fingerprint. It says, okay, I'm tracking you with 2 other pieces of data on that little test that I showed you there. Okay, I'm tracking you with your IP address and your location. So now think about this as a collective here. Think about this as a big picture, guys, because this is really what we're talking about. Your tracker now is attached to your real name. And this is now doing a direct tracking of your IP address, your location, match to your fingerprint, to cross-verify the connection between all that. Now they start storing your locations, your IP addresses, and store that into a big, massive database. And now it can be used for other things now, later on. Who retracted the message? Message retracted. Who retracted a message? So, prophetic rich. Do you see what I'm talking about here? And my video didn't get a lot of views because nobody really understood what they were looking at. And so I'm trying to explain to you just how bad this is. This is extremely bad. Maybe it's not explainable in a short way, but it's extremely bad. So just maybe I have to do a video number 2. Okay? So, but you have to understand what I just said here, that this tracking is unavoidable and unescapable. And now what do we do to defend against this? What can we do to defend ourselves against this kind of attack? Testing to see if everything would help make the banner. The banner will disappear, I believe. No, it must be the way I programmed it. AMG, because I program where the banner is. So I think just as people comment, it disappears. It'll go scroll up. So that's what makes it disappear is the scroll. We gotta push. Yeah, do a part 2 defense. Well, this is the defense. So I'm gonna tell you now what the issues are on the Facebook side and how you're gonna defend against this. So some of you are still on Facebook, and so how do you defend against this? Well, the best defense is to leave Facebook. I mean, that's pretty simple. Once you leave Facebook, then none of the tracking, you live on YouTube. Yes, Prophetic Rich, watch on YouTube. You can see all the YouTube comments in there. So if you understand that there's only 2 companies that are doing large scale fingerprinting. 2 companies doing large scale fingerprinting. And one of them is Facebook, and the other one is Google Ads. So between Google Ads and Facebook, they're doing most of the fingerprinting. A lot of the ad trackers, there's some other companies that do, ad tracking. Those are also fingerprinting you. So let's say, if an ad, if the ad is not Google based, because there are some competitors to Google. So if somebody uses an ad that is not based on Google, there's actually an aggregator of ads. So I forget the name of the company that handles the ads in most places, including Google Ads. They're actually aggregated by somebody else. And that's actually the main tracker, that company. But let's focus first on Facebook, because Facebook has some extra data on you that just makes the tracking a little bit more deadly. You see, the other tracker, the Google trackers, don't really know who you are. They just know you by the fingerprint. They don't know your name. So it's only partial information. So they don't know your name. They just know the fingerprint. Now Facebook is a little bit different because it actually knows your name, your phone number, which they've already sold to third parties. Nerdy Gal, my friend, and then go to YouTube, Nerdy Gal, and then in addition to that, so you got your full name, your address, your friends, your contact list. It knows everyone you know, and then it has all of your locations from all your photos, has your likes, dislikes, everything you've ever posted, every comment, every thought that you posted on Facebook, every friend that's ever posted on Facebook. Now you combine that with how they track you outside of the app into whatever you do on the internet and say, okay, you visited these websites, and any website that has a Facebook like button, you got to worry about. Now, you got to check this, but I would guess that porn sites probably do not have a Facebook button. So that saves you. Okay? Where's Jay? Where's Monkey Man Jay? I don't think porn sites have a Facebook like button. They may have a Twitter button though, but I don't think they have a Facebook like button. So if they don't have a Facebook like button, then typically porn is not something you have to worry about being tracked by Facebook. That may be tracked by other means, but not by Facebook. Again, when you're tracked by Facebook, what you need to understand is that the tracking has your name on it, which is why it's extra dangerous, because it's not just tracking that you went to Amazon and bought something. Can you imagine you go to a Cabela's? Anybody know what Cabela's is? Does anybody know what Cabela's is? Pornhub has Twitter. Instagram. Yeah, of course, Instagram. No, anything that Facebook owns, Instagram and Zuck. Okay. Does anybody else know what Cabela's is? Nerdy Gal knows what Cabela's. Claire Peters knows what Cabela's is. Okay. Prophetic Rich knows what Cabela's is. Anybody else know what Cabela's is? So I assume that if I haven't been to Cabela's Eagle Source, I love that store. Uh, so John Cabela sits in the U.S., so you wouldn't know that in Australia. Aside from the fact that there's no Cabela's in Australia. But I don't know. I haven't looked at Cabela's lately. But does Cabela's have a Facebook like button somewhere? Somebody has to look. Okay. So Bass Pro owns Bass Pro owns Cabela's. I see. I didn't even know that. So I did not know that. I'll have to look. But anyway, for those of you who are not of a particular thought process, you may not know what Cabela's is, but Cabela's sells guns. Cabela sells guns, ammo, and any kind of gun hardware, scopes and red dots and magazines and all kinds of gadgets. Build your own AR, all that stuff. All that stuff. Yes, it has a Facebook button. Zuck. Okay. Eagle Sword. So somebody just checked that Cabela's has a Facebook button. So Facebook knows even your gun activity. I see they have a Facebook account. Yeah. If they have a Facebook account, they're gonna have a Facebook button. Okay. So I've been talking to my son for taking my son to Cabela's. Yeah. So there's no Cabela's near me, but I believe I went to. I think there was that a Cabela's I went to no, I think it was Dick's. It was Dick's. Does Dick's have a Facebook button? I'm sure they do. I'm sure Dick's is a Facebook button. Facebook button and Twitter and others. Okay, so all of those sites are being fingerprinted. 90% of the sites will have something. So at least 70% of the sites will have a Facebook like button. So most businesses want to be liked on Facebook, so they put Facebook like button everywhere. It has FB, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and YouTube. Zocked up. There you go. Now you're completely zocked. Dick's and Sport Authority is a scam. Thank you, DJ Murdoch. Okay, watch Dick's. It's a store because they're gonna demonetize me and say, "You're saying I do not go." They zuck. AMG, I'm gonna hide that comment because they may just track that on Dick's Sporting Goods. There we go. We're talking about Dick's Sporting Goods. So if somebody says we're gonna, so look, Nerdy Gal's comment was, "We wear ski masks though when we buy our guns." So Nerdy Gal, why is that held for review? Oh my gosh, that comment. So Nerdy Gal said, "We wear ski masks though when we buy our guns." That is held for review. So now I got to clear that after the broadcast. Suck. So I just read it for you, Nerdy Gal, so we're sure that's covered. So there's the automatic filtration here, especially when you're monetized. They must Academy Sports is good here. So anyway, my point is, can you think about all the websites you go to? What about political websites? Do they have Facebook like buttons? What about political websites? What about church websites? So, Check out your local synagogue website and see if it has a Facebook like button. What if you use a device without using a fingerprint? That prophetic rich, it's not a physical fingerprint button. The fingerprint is invisible to you. It's a device fingerprint. You cannot evade it. I want to make it clear. You cannot evade a device fingerprint. Cannot. You can't joke on YouTube. There's nothing actually bad with what you said, so I don't even understand why that was filtered. You cannot evade a browser fingerprint unless using alias. You cannot evade a browser fingerprint, period. What you can do is say, what is that fingerprint going to be matched to? You will be fingerprinted, prophetic rich. Any website you go to, you can be fingerprinted by Facebook and Google. Any website you visit, you are being fingerprinted by the ad tracker. You are being fingerprinted. This is not a guess. It's clear you are being fingerprinted. The question now is, what can they do with the fingerprint? What is the purpose of the fingerprint? What can they do with that? Okay, so the answer is, if the fingerprint is being taken by one website, for example, you go to you can't fingerprint WebRTC if you have a good VPN. They don't get your physical fingerprint, prophetic rich. It has nothing to do with your physical fingerprint. It's a device fingerprint. DJ Murdoch, you can stop a WebRTC fingerprint through routing, which is what I do on my Tor router. This does not open up WebRTC leaks or DNS leaks, because those will also fingerprint you. Yes, so this doesn't do that. Okay, it's a terminology. Yes, the terminology is called Hello Danny. The terminology is you're okay. Bytes VPN will stop that leak. The terminology is called device fingerprint, but to be more accurate, it's actually a browser fingerprint. The reason is the fingerprint does not cross browsers. So, and some of you may not know this. I'm going to tell you this. Let's say you are using Chrome, Safari, DuckDuckGo, Brave, Firefox on your phone. Those are different browsers you can use on your phone. Each one of those will have a different fingerprint. Okay, now it's going to screw you up here. Apps, Braxme is an app. Apps that use a web interface, such as DuckDuckGo, will use the same fingerprint as Braxme, which we both use the same thing called the WebKit browser. We're both using the WebKit browser that comes standard with iOS. Most apps will use the standard WebKit browser when we need to do browsing within our app. Therefore, most apps share the same browser. This is why Safari behaves the same as DuckDuckGo, because DuckDuckGo is just using the Apple standard browser. Okay? When you're using it on Chrome, it may do the same thing and use the same standard Chromium WebKit browser. It's called a WebKit. So when you make an app, you don't have to make your own browser. You just say, I want to use the same. Yeah, I saw that, ET Buck. But that's only in a PC. Again, that's not going to work on an iPhone here. They're still going to use the same WebKit browser. Then they can inject their own plugins, which is what the center will do. They'll inject their own plugins, and so you don't have to plug manually install plugins. But it's the same. It's the same. Yeah, I should make my own. I could make my own browser too. I mean, I could fork the browser. It's a lot of maintenance though, because every time the main browser changes, you got to change too. So anyway, as I'm saying to you here, that on a mobile device, you actually have fewer options than you think, because most of the devices share the same browser. Hey man, they can't even get my IP address. If that were the only thing to worry about, then we're all safe with a Tor router or a VPN. Okay? But a fingerprint does not need your IP address. This is why you have to consider these as separate data points. Okay, so again, to make this clear, there are 3 data points that you got to worry about. They're actually collected separately. Data point number 1 is your IP address. Now that you can block, obviously, with a VPN. You need to block that. I'll explain in a moment why. You might say, well, I'm being fingerprinted anyway, so I don't need to worry about anything. No, that's wrong thinking. Okay, the second thing that the second piece of data that you have to worry about is the fingerprint, device fingerprint. You got a device fingerprint blocker part of VPN. You can't block it. The fingerprint is a response of your browser. Your browser responding and giving the fingerprint. So the only way to do it is if the browser blocks the JavaScript commands to do that. So the problem is actually at the browser level. Number 3 item is the location tracking, geolocation. So the geolocation is again built into the browser. Okay, so now there are 3 things that are being tracked separately. They are separate. They're not the same. Again, IP address, browser fingerprint, location. So Java has nothing to do with this. Java has nothing to do with this. ETBuck, not going to do anything for you. Go to my test brax.me/geo and do the test. It tests all 3. It tests for browser fingerprint, location, and IP address. And then it sees what location the IP address will reveal. So you got 3 items there that is tracking. Now, what you want to do is not have them collect these 3 pieces of information together, because once they do, then you could be matched by either one. Okay, let's say you don't want to have a Tor router, VPN router, or Bytes VPN. Let's say you don't want to have any of that. Like Tinker says, well, I don't need a VPN. I don't need Tor. Okay. Okay, I don't need VPN. I don't need Tor. So I don't need to worry about any of that. Okay. Now I'll just tell you the consequence of that. So I can worry about it. I have all these devices. I got all the devices. Thank you, Waldorf Floor. Thank you. What does fingerprint protection on Brave do? Try it. Test it on my program. See if it does anything. See if it does anything. Waldorf Floor. I made you a test. You can see if it actually works. My friend told me to try his free VPN. Yes, his free VPN will now, yes, you will be so zucked with that. Okay. Which is a different program, right? So anyway, what I'm trying to tell you is, if I have your IP address, I have your location, and I have your browser fingerprint, I now have a database that connects the 3. So let's say, hello, Sand Commander. Let's say that I am the Facebook or Google tracking you, and I now want to connect these 3 points into data. Obviously, it's in a database now. This is not a mystery. I'm guaranteeing you there is a database now of IP address, your browser fingerprint, and your location. Okay? That is now in the database. I don't get it. Am I secure if I never connect to the Wi-Fi? No, no. Okay, I just told you the three pieces that you need to worry about. Okay, IP address, browser fingerprint, and location. All that's in a database now. That could be captured. Any one of those three can be captured for sure, because you cannot evade a browser fingerprint, so it will capture a browser fingerprint. Your IP address may change, but how many IP addresses have you had? You may be mobile, you may be at home, sometimes you're mobile, sometimes you're on a VPN, sometimes you're not on a VPN. And you say, well, sometimes on a VPN that's good enough. Okay, just understand they kept that in the database. So now they see browser fingerprint has been spotted at these areas and have been spotted at these IP addresses. And one of those IP addresses will be your home. The next thing that's going to spot is location. So then it says, okay, we've seen you at these locations with these IP addresses, and so now we will know that this IP address matches this location. Now, in some cases, you've turned location off. So they're going to say, okay, the location is pointed to the wrong spot, so therefore it doesn't show the my real location. But you may have made a mistake. You may have made a mistake, and then when you made a mistake, it means that the location, your real location, could have leaked out in that database. So now the database will have a bunch of locations tied to an IP address. Some will be correct, some will not. So they can use some logic and say, okay, some of these are just matching, like I did in my test there. I did a test showing you the location based on IP address with location off, and location with the IP address with location on. Now, it doesn't require much sophisticated computer programming to figure out which one is the right one. How hard would it be for me to figure it out? Okay? All I have to do is match your IP address that you normally use against its common location with location, and then I will know what it is when it's with the new location. I will now know when your location's off or on. By the way, I know that your location's off or on. I actually can query that. So I know that your location's off, in which case then I can only save the location when your IP address, when your location's turned on. I will know that. Please don't think I'm stupid. Why does it matter if they are tracking me? Don't worry about it, Ice DView. Don't worry about it. Tracking is fine. You can be tracked all day. That in itself is a complex discussion of why you should care. But watch my video rather than be repeating the whole explanation. I actually explain it in a video, Nothing to Hide. Go to Rob Braxman Tech on YouTube, and I actually answer that in the video, Nothing to Hide. It's the very top when you join the website, the channel. Nothing to hide, and just go look at that and see if you really have nothing to hide, because that's what you're saying, that you have nothing to hide. Okay, if you really have nothing to hide and you want to be tracked and you don't really care that you're being tracked, then watch the video, and then you will get the a thought out response that I don't have to repeat here because I may make a mistake and forget. But the Nothing to Hide video explains some of the issues that confront you when you don't think about these tracking things, and it bothers me that they can do that. And it also, as a separate thing, watch that video that Vice made. It's on my community tab on YouTube, and it's made by Vice. And the main thing about it is Snowden talking. Watch that video. It's very well made, and it talks about some of the dangers of being tracked by three-letter agencies. And now that's a little bit different one because it's a three-letter agency kind of tracking thing. So who's tracking you? It depends, and who's the opposition. Again, this all depends on who's tracking you. So today we're not talking about three-letter agency tracking. We're talking about being tracked by corporate websites, Facebook, Google, stuff like that, ad tracking companies. So that information is currently sold. So like you might think that, oh, okay, so what if X company is tracking you? Well, that information's sold, and that's being used to manipulate the stock market currently. Which obviously somebody named with the letter K is not going to care. Well, it's great for catching criminals. We don't need to care that it's manipulating the stock market. Don't need to care that it can manipulate your vote. We don't need to care that it can be used for blackmail. It can manipulate your insurance and anything else that they can want to manipulate. It gives power to the wrong people. So I don't want to give them that kind of power. Thank you, Nerdy Gal. So anyway, so back to what we're talking about. There are three ways of tracking, which is IP address, browser fingerprint, and location. And what you want to do is prevent them from getting that trifecta. The trifecta, if they have those, they can track you all over the internet now. Because Facebook adds a fourth factor to the trifecta. And you know what Facebook adds to those three? Your real zucking name. Your real name. So now the trifecta plus Facebook equals 4. 4 identifiers. Your real name, your browser fingerprint, your IP address, and your location. Now all I need to do is get one of these pieces of data and I know exactly where you are. One of them. So if I know your IP address, zucked. If I know your real name, I can say, okay, roughly what location is it in? Zucked. If I know your browser fingerprint, I will know your name. Do you understand now that everything you do on the internet now is constantly being monitored and stored in a database? And many people want to buy this data. Palantir buys this data or gets it for free and uses it for pre-crime, which Kelp loves. Because he doesn't watch the movie Minority Report. Okay? So I think it's pretty scary. I don't know about you, but I don't need my comings and goings on the internet to be tracked like that. It's not cool. Kelp, I can keep you safe too. I can keep you under lock and key in jail. And I'll put a guard outside with a gun, and that will keep you really, really safe. Okay, Kelp, I want to keep you safe. So I'll put you in jail, lock you up, protective custody. And since you are apparently lacking in analytical skills, you will think that is equal to what you're saying. Because okay, that's great. Because you just said roadblocks at every roadblock. If we disrupt our lives with roadblocks, it's fine. So Mr. K here is zucked up. Yes, Mr. K. You say we don't. It's very easy to keep you safe. They can keep you safe in the Soviet Union. You know how they kept you safe in the Soviet Union? There was very little crime in the Soviet Union back in the day. Yeah. Let's have communism, and then you will be safe. So to somebody like Special K. Somebody like Special K cannot distinguish between our values in life. What do we value in life? And it's like, is everything in life about safety or something in life about freedom? Because Mr. K doesn't distinguish between freedom and all the other activities. Like, okay, we can give up freedom for everything. Well, zuck you. So Mr. K. Special K. Okay, so hey bro, can you pin my IP? I'm just curious. Camaro Jeff, I'm gonna give you another trick. There you go, Mr. FOA assassin. Okay, Camaro Jeff. There are many ways to Camaro Jeff. There's many ways to pin your IP address when you're not thinking about it. I certainly can do that, and it would require a direct attack. And one of those attacks, Camaro Jeff, is by email. So let's say you're using a VPN. All I have to do is beacon you, and if you ever turn off your ducking VPN, then my beacon will report your IP address. So yes, there's other ways to do it if you are not prepared. So that's a different topic that's actually discussed in many of my videos on email, which again, nobody pays attention to. Yeah, Mr. K needs to be tracked. So I would say let's 3-letter agencies and Facebook and Google, please focus all your tracking on Kelp because he's the ducking criminal. Please do all the tracking right there. It would be perfect. So we would be happy if you track Kelp all you want because he wants it. So people do watch the videos. I'm checking the numbers, French in versus smoke, and some of the videos that are important are not getting watched. The videos that are important and are not getting watched are the email videos and the videos on browser fingerprinting and this new one I just made, which is the browser threats. I don't use email and my phone has never been connected to a Wi-Fi. Your phone doesn't have to be connected to Wi-Fi, Camaro Jeff. It has Wi-Fi. If you want to not to be safe, you should have not gotten the phone. So where's my Camaro Jeff? Go to my video flip phones. Camaro Jeff, go to my video flip phones on YouTube, and look at that phone that I use, which is a BlackBerry. That will not reveal your data because it's old enough that it doesn't do that, and it has, you can text with it, and it even has Wi-Fi. It's obviously more limited. You can't load Periscope on or anything, and believe me, that thing just does not get fingerprinted. It does not have the capability to get fingerprinted. Okay, so that's perfect because there's no browser that you can actually use well on it. So I don't even use a browser on it. There's a kind of a minimal browser on it, but you can be fingerprinted and there's no location tracking. So flip phones video. It's only it's under 10 minutes long. In the title video, type free helpful advice. John, the problem is you can't on YouTube doing clickbait is not always practical. They actually push you down in the search things when you use clickbait. Hello, Patricia. They push you down in the search things if you do. So it's very difficult to come up with a title. Because in order for you to come up with a title, hello, Patricia, you have to actually look for the search word before you make the video. And to see if somebody will actually search for it. So in many ways, I'm targeting the video name to YouTube searches rather than to people. Subaru Gal from Wisconsin. How did you know I was fishing? Subaru Gal from Wisconsin. Unfortunately, Subaru Gal, you kind of revealed your identity way too much. All you have to do is say, Subaru Gal, all you have to say is, we're the Subaru dealership, and then that kind of reveals it. So, I'm fine, Subaru Gal. I'm fine. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. So anyway, so you can see how I'm bothered by all this. This really are important issues that do scare me. And how do you evade them collecting the trifecta of data plus your real name? Well, I told you, Facebook is the number one problem. When you run Facebook, especially when you run thank you, Supergal. When you run Facebook, especially on mobile, you're pretty much zocked. So if I were you, I wouldn't even think of running Facebook on mobile. I know no one's going to pay attention to me because you just want to get tracked, but mobile is the main problem for Facebook. Okay, now let's say you believe me and you said, okay, I'm not going to load Facebook on mobile. Can I load Facebook on a computer? Yes, but use only one browser for it. Pick a browser and use it only with that browser. Let's say you're going to use Brave. You're going to say, okay, I will use Brave only with Facebook and nothing else. Thank you, Prophetic Rich. Make sure you get my hardware and software and Bytes VPN, Brax Wi-Fi router. All these are protection tools. What the point of these devices are, by the way, is to prevent them from collecting the trifecta of data. If they have just one of them, it's not going to help much to them. They need to get all three, and then you are zocked. So the three is browser fingerprint, which you cannot evade, IP address, and location. So you still need to hide your IP address because that's going to be matched to your location. So you really need to make sure that that's not stored. Location is easily handled for most websites. Just turn your location off at all times. Be very careful what apps get access to location. Minimal. Always make sure that everything is always set to off, and then minimally allow. And you have to really think. You're gonna have to make the choice, a serious one. And when you say, okay, you understand that once you turn on a location for an app, you're actually giving them access to an IP address, so you have a VPN and a browser fingerprint. So they're gonna have 2 out of the 3 if you don't have a VPN. If you don't have a VPN, they got 3 out of 3. You're zocked. Camaro Jeff, I told you. I already answered that. There are techniques to do it, but if you have a VPN, obviously not easily. This is why you need a VPN. If you have a VPN, the only way to catch your IP address is if you make a mistake. So one of the ways to have you make a mistake is, of course, email. Otherwise, it's hard to hack get the IP address. But they can get your location, though. Since you have Wi-Fi, Camaro Jeff, they can get your location. By the way, Camaro Jeff, your location's already known to Apple or to Google, depending on what device you have. Does owning multiple laptops help? Yeah, it helps you be identified more. Yeah, fingerprint changes with device, physical device. So if you have a different device, it's a different fingerprint. So you're actually being tracked on multiple devices. They just need to get in a Subaru, right? There's technology in a Subaru too. It's late for me. You be well. Thank you, Prophetic Rich. One computer Wi-Fi, one for home. If you plug in a computer into Ethernet, no Wi-Fi card on it, that will not track location. So that's one saver. It will still have browser fingerprint. So on that device, I would use multiple browsers. Get a Subaru. So I'm too far from you now, Subaru gal, but I used to be only a couple hours away. If I wanted a Subaru, I could have gone to you way back when, right? Buy a test. Buy. Did somebody say buy a Tesla? Buy Tesla. Uh, I like a Tesla. Yeah, it'll track me to no end though. It will track me to no end, but I like I wish I had a Tesla because it's fancy. So there goes oh boy, there goes more jokes. Did the joke sensor stop that? The Tesla one? I don't think so. I think it went through. I guess Tesla has a agreement. I was going to install solar power, John. I do not currently have solar power, but I was going to install it. Solar power, though, does not take you off the grid. Solar power just adds power to the grid. You basically put solar power and then, for 50 grand, and then you send your power back to the grid. So, it costs about 50 grand to do solar. I'd move on. Yeah, so, give me a Tesla. I'll take it. Hey, Elon Musk, you want me to promote Tesla on my broadcast and tell me about how it's going to be safe for security? Send me one and I'll, you can even send me the tiny one, the Model 3. I'll take the Model 3 anytime. I'll take the Model 3. I won't buy a Mercedes. I'll buy a Model 3. They're exploding. There's a lot of Teslas here, Mario. This is California. We got a lot of Teslas. We got a lot of Teslas and a lot of Priuses. You might get a discount Tesla. Just ask them. Still not as provable as the combustion engine. You cannot lease a Tesla. No. Tesla does not have a lease. You got to outright buy it. And serial killers? California has a lot of things. California's a lot of serial killers. I thought most serial killers were in Wisconsin. I don't want a POS. Thank you. Next. What was that about? Oh, a Subaru? Goodness, why are you criticizing a Subaru? What's the maintenance on those Teslas? I don't know. My neighbor had a Tesla, and they, seem to be pretty happy with it. I have no idea. Solar here, government discounts. Subaru Galliers, making sure that you like Ernie Lee. No yearly registration fee. I'm right down the road from Tesla. I want online or actually, here in California, the Tesla, there's a kind of their own warehouse where they keep Teslas. It's nearby. So they have that's where I guess they stock up all the Teslas that come out of the factory, and so there's hundreds of Teslas in this lot. So it's I wonder why they keep it next to the ocean. I mean, we'll get more corrosion. But that's what they do. So they you can see these auto loading, what do you call those? Those trucks that carry the cars, and then they dump them by the dozen into the lot. And I see them all the time. So there's a lot of Teslas here. Are you going to get a Tesla? I don't have money to get a Tesla, DJ Murdoch. And did you see the video of the Tesla exploding in the parking lot? No, I did not, Mario. Subaru Gal is not on Brax. I don't believe. Join us on Brax at me, Subaru Gal. I want to go test one. You would be at night driving your... I need to get a S Life. Goodness, Jay, your PS Rob, Bitcoin up. Not up enough. When it's talk to me when it's a 10. Then we'll say, looking good. Or get past 10. How about 10-1? 5,400, 50,100. I'm only down 25K. Yes. So you can afford to buy yourself a $149 VPN router. Soon your monetization on YouTube will get you enough for Tesla. John, soon my monetization on YouTube will make me buy food. So maybe it will. I will send me a sample. You don't need a sample, Jay. It works. Money back guarantee. It's always a money back guarantee. You don't want it? Send it back. Refund you your money. Hello, Nervous Vegas. Sell the piano. You could buy food for 20 years. I don't think so. This is California. Food is expensive. Tic Tacs first, then Tesla. Food helps run your vehicle body. There you go. Hello, Nervous Vegas. 10. 10 what? You still on CBS Radio? CBS Radio doesn't exist anymore. It was purchased by iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio. The 100K follower giveaway is a Tesla or a Tor router? Anyway. Subaru gal. That's funny. That's funny. So anyway, I hope you've learned a few things tonight. I heard you. I hope you learned a few things tonight, and are thinking about ways to protect yourself, because now one of the pieces of data cannot be hidden. That's the fingerprint. So the fingerprint is not a piece of data that you can hide. However, it changes when you change computers or change browsers. So it's kind of you can change it in a limited way. If you want to disappear for a moment, you use a different browser. But then once you start using your regular browser, then you're back in the forefront. So anyway. So I'm going to be broadcasting a jam session tomorrow, guys. I'm going to be summarize avoiding both files okay for me. You can't. I just said, Kelp, you cannot avoid browser fingerprinting unless you change browser every so often. You can't avoid browser fingerprinting, so therefore avoid them collecting the trifecta of details, which is IP address, location, and browser fingerprint together. You got to keep them from getting those three together. Since you cannot evade a browser fingerprint, you have to make sure they don't get the other two. Kelp, it's only important on ZocBook and Google. So if you want to stay protected, just have a VPN, turn off the location, and be aware that you're being fingerprinted always. Always. Okay? You can't evade it. There's no solution to it. You are going to be fingerprinted. If you come here and tell me that you're going to evade browser fingerprinting, I'm going to say, stop using the internet, then you will avoid browser fingerprinting. At the moment, there's no solution. But I'm going to stop them from collecting all the other pieces, because it's even more important now. Because even if I leak it once, they match it to a fingerprint, they're going to get all my history of my data of all the IP addresses I've ever been at and go zucking find you. So I don't want that to happen. So anyway, back to what I'm saying in my schedule. I'm going to be doing a jam session tomorrow. So tomorrow's music only. And I'm sure that YouTube, Periscope only, sorry. I'll be broadcasting only on Periscope for the music, because YouTube doesn't like music. They'll just demonetize it. So no YouTube tomorrow, but Periscope tomorrow. And then I'm going to make a YouTube video in the middle of the week. And then I told you that I actually
um, ordered equipment for doing RF hacking. So one of the things that I can do is build a cell base station. I can make my own Stingray. I can track Bluetooth, open your garage door, open your car door, things like that. I'm going to be doing videos in that. It's going to be fun. This is like, it's fun to see, all the things that are, things that we'd never see because we're only concentrating on computer hacking, and we don't really see that we are being hacked with our environment, with our physical devices. I put a sniffer app on my phone, and most apps are sending stats to Facebook through various countries. Really? You actually spent time doing that? What can you do with a Pi? So this is an actual computer. This is an actual computer, John. So you can change the programming on this and do other things. You can make it a Bitcoin off the internet storage. You can put an SDR to it, a software-defined radio. Turn this into a radio device and spy on radio and do all that. You can attach it to the device I just bought. That's kind of expensive, but then you can make a base station with this. There's so many little projects you can do with this, and I actually have a room on Brax that's dedicated to the Pi, and it hasn't really been updated in a while. Nobody's been posting any new projects, but it would be fun to post projects over there. So that's how I first tried to make a Tor router using the projects on the internet on making a Tor router. So I actually tried it, and what I found out was that the instruction was wrong. That's why I built my own, because the instruction was wrong. So anyway, don't worry about Subaru Gal. You block people. It's on Brax.me. There's a room there called Raspberry Pi. Subaru Gal. If you have any conflicts with anyone, you just block. Simple. Yeah, if that person is a see, I haven't been following all the comments here, but so it looks like a lot of fighting here with M. Thompson, which you're free to make. M. Thompson, you're allowed to make comments. I don't have a problem with that. But if you are in any conflict with anyone, just block each other. That's fine. Yeah, that Kelp. That's that's for you to be for your feelings to be hurt, Kelp. That's shocking to me. I didn't think that was possible. Anyway. I'm like looking forward to all the kind of fun projects I can make with that and new videos. I'll show you like where the traffic is for the cell signals and where they're hacking you in the what it looks like on the internet. Okay. Okay, Patricia. So I'll see you tomorrow on Music Broadcast. Please watch that. Maybe a handful of you will see that. And that'll be all music. So good night, folks. Good night, my friends.